before I get going on the game. So it was Suits and Sneakers Week for cancer awareness. They've been doing it a long time with the NABC, so that's why we went with the suits and sneakers, which had our whole staff do the suits and sneakers to bring awareness. If you saw, though, too, it was also we had some pink ribbons that the managers and support staff wore. One of our managers, Mason Benedetti's mother, Susie, passed away over Thanksgiving, which is a little bit tough on the program. Mason's been with us for a while, so they all wore the pink ribbons just to bring awareness to breast cancer. My mother's fought breast cancer and beat it, so that's for those of you writing anything about the suits and sneakers or cancer awareness, that's why the pink ribbons were worn. So to get to the game, unbelievable effort from our guys. Really the effort we've been looking for outside of the start to the second half. You take that 4 minutes out, which I wasn't very happy with that effort, but the other 36 minutes I thought we played really hard, out-rebounded a really good team by 16. Still scored 20 even though we had 20 turnovers. Now we got to fix the turnovers. Obviously it's a major problem, and 12 of those 20 were from 3 of our fifth-year seniors, which shouldn't be the case, but thought those guys kind of set the tone. I thought this was the hardest Sears has played. I told him it's good to see. I thought he had some turnovers. He sprinted back, made tough plays on D, didn't sulk, didn't pout. His leadership, the effort he gave tonight, I think really helped set the tone for how the team's supposed to look. So, defensively, we held them to a .88, which is really hard to do, particularly when you turn it over 20 times. They got plenty of opportunities to score off our turnovers, and we still, sprinted back, made big stops. So if we can take that mentality, that effort on the defensive end and clean up the offense, we've got something headed in the right direction here going in the second half of conference play. So, Grant, somebody gave me a stat here. Only player in the SEC this year to have 16, 10, and 5 in under 30 minutes. I think that kind of speaks to our depth. Like, Diabate plus 20 only played 11 and a half minutes. Like, we've got guys that impact the game in short amounts of time. That's what some of our guys are kind of having to figure out is you may not get a ton of minutes, but it's what you do in your minutes. And then if you play well in your minutes, they're going to go up. So, Aiden Sherrill plays 20 minutes tonight, season high in minutes, but we're plus 16 when he's in the game. I thought his defense, in the interior, he did a good job with their bigs. You kind of look at some of their bigs shot on the day. I didn't think they shot it particularly well, and they kind of force-feed it into the post, if you will, and I thought our bigs, for the most part, Asa got going there a little bit early in the second half, but for the most part, I thought our bigs did a pretty good job pushing their catches out, forcing tougher shots. And Asa is a really good player, ton of respect for him, ends up with 16 and 7, but takes 15 shots, goes 6 of 15 from the floor. So, I thought defensively we made big jumps, and that's what we wanted to see going into this break here.
A couple questions about Sherrill. Was his jump in minutes as a result of practice performance and also on three-pointers? I think he came in only 4 out of 24 for the year. Has he had the green light all along for those?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think he's typically practiced. We've never had an issue with him as far as effort and practice goes, but he played well. I kind of told you we do this poll where have the guys grade the team as a whole on 5 categories and vote for practice MVP. Well, he had the most votes, I believe, on the last practice. So, he's played well, deserved to play some minutes, knew that they played 2 bigs the entire game, so there'd be an opportunity for us to get our front court some more minutes, and he took advantage of them. And then to go to the shooting, this kid shot 40. We chart everything from the time they get here in the summer. So in all of our live 5-on-5 drills, scrimmage, everything, all summer and fall, he shot 40% from 3. So it's hard sometimes in limited minutes, when you're not going to be in there a bunch, to shoot it great. We just keep encouraging him to shoot. Like, I tell him in my mind he's a 40% shooter. Don't worry about what the numbers say. As long as your feet are set, you're stepping in, it's a good shot. Let it fly. I was happy to see the first one go, and then he hit that next one. So, he goes 2 or 3 from 3, and he struggled at the line a little bit through the year. Even though he's a great shooter, he goes 4 of 4 at the line. Ends up with 12 points and 7 rebounds in 20 minutes, and we're plus 16 when he's in the game. So can't say enough about Aiden tonight.
You kind of mentioned them in your opening, but just how good was it to see the response from Mark and Grant in the second half, the way they kind of came out of the locker room?
Yeah, I think their attitudes and their intentions were really good in the first half. Just, man, the turnovers were just killing us. So, I told Mark, too, in the second half, I think he had the 1 turnover. I think he had 5 at the half and only had 1 in the second half. This is actually great. You're kind of struggling a little bit on offense. Didn't have, he still ends up with 20, even though he struggled, Didn't shoot it great. Goes 6 of 14, didn't miss a free throw, but struggled a little bit in his mind for sure if you count turnovers and the shooting on offense, but never really affected his effort on defense, which I think is an enormous jump for him, which is the jump we've been looking for him to make. So super happy with him. And then Grant's effort outside of the first 4 minutes of the second half, I thought Grant's effort was outstanding. They have 5 blocks. Our team had 9 blocks. They just kind of force-feed it inside, and I think he, kind of stood his ground, made some blocks in there on some of that stuff. 16, 10, and 5 is pretty good night for him.
Cliff had 11 rebounds, did 4 on the offensive end. Just how have you seen him kind of turn a corner here in the last 2 games, establish a presence inside?
Yeah, I mean, what he did in the minutes that he got, and again, he ended up in foul trouble, and I don't mind playing guys with 2 fouls in the first half, but with the way Aiden Sherrill had it going, I just figured we'd try to save his, fouls in case we really needed him. Second half, so he didn't play as many minutes as, usually, as he usually does, kind of due to foul trouble and Aiden Sherrill playing the way he did. But, in 15 minutes to have 11 rebounds, 4 on the offensive end, is pretty impressive. So this is what we've just been trying to sell to all these guys. With our depth, it's what you do in your minutes. It's not necessarily how many minutes you get. Outside of Sears, nobody played more than 27 minutes. CY was right at 27. So, and then everybody that's on scholarship played over 12. Diabate was hurt or he would have gone over 12. And what he did in his minutes to be plus 20 and 11:30, ridiculous. He won the hard hat, 20 blue-collar points in 11 and a half minutes. Right? Ridiculous what he does in there. So, just in the amount of minutes some of these guys played, what they really get done, like Cliff, Mo Diabate, right up there at the top.
Yeah, you talked about wanting to improve the turnover number. I mean, is it hard to get that message to register when you can have a turnover problem but still win by 21?
I hope not. We're going to spend a lot of time on Monday and Tuesday figuring out how to not turn the ball over because we've had this issue way too many times. And, it's going to come back to bite us if we don't get it fixed, particularly on the road. Teams that can take advantage of it a little bit more out in the open court after the turnovers, we got to get it fixed. So I hope we're mature enough that we understand. And I think we will. I mean, like I said, 12 of the 20 turnovers came from 3 of our fifth-year seniors. So I hope those guys are mature enough to understand you can learn just as much off a win as you can off a loss.
You've mentioned some already, but just what kind of improvements did you see defensively to hold them to 36% from the floor?
Post defense was better, outside of that first 4 minutes in the second half. Ball screen defense was better. They don't run nearly as many ball screens as some other teams we played, but I thought it was better. I thought we got guys pushed in. We forced, a lot more non-paint twos than, the ball had been getting downhill to the rim, way too much earlier. I'm looking at our defense right now. Over a fourth of their shots were, 20 of their shots were non-rim twos. So, I thought we did a better job forcing them into the shots that we. Stevens got a bad feel and didn't realize I wasn't done, but maybe that's his point that I should be done. But I thought post defense, pick and roll defense, and then just overall effort in general. To be honest with you.
Coach, I know both of them have been banged up, but they weren't really in the flow offensively. What's going to be the focus with this week off coming up with LeBaron Philon and Darion Reed?
I mean, they got to get back in the groove. Like, they've been out too long. When you miss practice reps, you don't play well. Like, I don't even really expect them to play well, to be honest with you, because you can't just miss all these reps and then expect to walk in and be good. So, I mean, they got to live with Clark here today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, they got to get healthy so they can get practice reps, so they can get back in the flow and get playing like they're capable of playing. Yeah, I mean, their effort was great. I got no issue with their effort, but you kind of look at what the two of them combined to go for 6. It's hard. Like, if you don't get practice reps, you look, I mean, they 0 for 6 and 2 assists to 4 turnovers between the two of them. Like, and it's not like they're not trying to play bad. It's just in order to play well, you got to get your reps. They're missing game reps. They're missing practice reps. So we got to get those two healthy and so they can help us down this stretch run.
Grant talked about how he's always chasing the blue collar points. Have you seen more of an effort, from everyone on the team since that Ole Miss game where you guys didn't have any, or you didn't have as much?
Yeah, we didn't have any. He's not far off. Yeah, I have. I mean, Sears had 14 tonight. Grant was a half of 1 behind Diabate. I mean, you look at Modi 20, Grant 19.5, Cliff with 15, Sears with 14. These guys are kind of really trying to get after it. We got to get a couple of these other guys in the mix a little bit more, a little bit better. But, Grant, I like the competition between them. Grant and Modi are kind of the two that my guess would be have won it the most this year. I try to pump Jaron up, get him back winning it. He won it back-to-back games. But I thought Jaron's mindset was right, playing hard, trying to make tough blue-collar plays. And then, you know what, when your mindset's right and that's what you're more worried about than anything, Jaron didn't miss a field goal, didn't miss a free throw. So even though he didn't end up, being at the top of the blue collar, I thought that was where his mindset was. And I think that translates. You just kind of lose yourself in the game like he did tonight, and you end up playing really well on the offensive end. So, hopefully all of our guys can kind of learn from it and keep competing to get blue-collar points, if you will, but make tough plays and get stops. So good game defensively to go into a week break for us. And then we just got to clean up the offense here over this next week. So we'll see you guys a week from today.